Hi there, homespun friends. Yes, I'm sitting in my car and filming a video for you. I have attempted for the last 30 minutes to go outside and film, but something was constantly happening. I had traffic like crazy. I had the next door neighbor's dog in the fence barking at me. The neighbor across the street decided that he was going to cut his grass, and another neighbor was blowing leaves. And so it was just too loud outside, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get in my car where it is nice and fairly quiet and film this video. It has been a wonderful day, a blessed day, very warm in our part of North Carolina. Even by Southern standards, we broke some records today. The record was set in 1926, I think they said, and we broke that with getting up to about 87 degrees. But of course, 87 degrees in the last half of October does not feel like the same intensity as 87 degrees in the middle of summer. So it wasn't very bad, and we still had some nice gentle breezes. And this evening it's getting cooler. And this weekend, we're supposed to have plummeting temperatures with highs about 60 and lows down in the upper 30s. And so it is truly going to be more like the season that we're in. So we're just taking advantage of the last warm days that we know that we'll have. And this morning we got up and we were able to exercise a wonderful privilege, and that is the privilege to vote. Now, in North Carolina, we have the privilege to vote early, about 2 weeks before the election. This helps to cut down on long lines and extensive waits. It also helps people who are going to be out of town. Now, we know that you can do absentee voting, and that is a form of voting that you can do here in North Carolina. But if you would like to go to the actual polling place and vote early, you can. And it's usually one location in each area. It's sort of centralized. And so my husband and I went, and we actually stood in line. Now, we have voted early before, but this is the first time that we've actually stood in line to vote early. And I would say that we waited in the line for about 30 minutes to vote. And the polling workers were stunned. They actually told me that they had no expectation that there would be so many people, and they said it had been like that since they opened. And so apparently it's going to be a very busy election. Now, you would have to be in a cave not to be aware of this upcoming presidential election, because it has been much talked about and discussed, and there have been a lot of arguments and heated debates going on about which person should win, which party should win. And I have even seen people on YouTube talking about who they're going to vote for, and that is good. This is, in America, this is our right to say what we want to say and to express ourselves and to be free. And that is one of the greatest privileges that our forefathers gave us, is the right to speak our minds. And if we disagree with one another, it is okay if we disagree. I have a couple of friends that I vehemently disagree with about certain issues, but I love them dearly. They're wonderful to me, and I hope that I'm wonderful to them. And I do not think any less of them because we disagree. I respect them as individuals. And my feelings are based on primarily my faith life, because my relationship with God dictates everything that I do and say. And so that is how I determine how I'm going to vote. And with our election this year, we do not have perfect candidates for either party, or even the Libertarian Party, whichever party you're voting with, or unaffiliated. We do not have perfect people running for office. We have flawed human beings, and we have to recognize this. And we are flawed also, and we have to give grace not only to ourselves but to other people. If we expect it from others, then we certainly should be able to give it. At the same time, I feel very strongly about certain issues that are going on. And so I will tell you what those are. And maybe from me talking about the issues that are important to me, you can determine how I voted today. One of the first and biggest issues for me is abortion. I do not believe in abortion, and I have exercised exercise my faith in showing loving kindness to people who have considered abortion, decided against abortion, and then seen them give birth and either proceed with adopting their child out or with keeping their child when they did not think they were going to, and having that child grow up and be a blessing to their lives. And it is a great joy to bring a life into this world. And I think every person from conception was created by God to live with a plan for their lives. And so I feel strongly that there are only maybe a couple of cases where I think that abortion should even be considered. One of those would be in the case where the mother's life is in danger. And then, even though I do not strongly agree with a situation where a person has been sexually abused and then they have an abortion, I think that that is not the infant's fault. And it's also not the woman's fault, you know. And so that is a very tough call. But I would love to see the mother have counseling and have people come around her and love her and help her to have that child, even if she gives that child up for adoption. But I can see where in that particular case there might be a call for abortion. But certainly those instances would be early on in the pregnancy. I do believe that life begins at conception, because in the Bible we know that God says that before we were born, He knew us and He created us. And so I just, that is so strong in my heart. I cannot vote for someone who would agree with abortions, especially late-term abortions. My mind just can't go there. So that is one issue that's near and dear to me. Another is immigration. Now, I love it that our country is full of immigrants, and it is such a joy to live in a country, because all of us came here from somewhere else if we go back through the history of our families. But we came legally. And I think that is a big difference. And I'm very concerned about the porous borders that we have in our country. I'm very concerned about people coming over who wish to do us harm. And we know in this volatile climate that we live in, that we have people right now within our country who are trying to hurt us. And so I believe in having strict enclosures, borders, if you will, so that we cannot have illegals coming over so freely and getting into our country, flooding into our country, because I believe that is very dangerous, and I worry about the safety of our own citizens. Another issue that's very important to me is education, and I do not like the government having any part of our education, the federal government. I believe that each state should have their own design for education within the schools, and that the federal government should stay out of school and stay out of education completely. That they should not be determining what our children are learning, but that is up to the states. Those are states' rights. And so Common Core, which was pretty much pushed on us by the federal government, I do not believe that it's working. I do not believe it is beneficial, and I would really like to see it go away. Another thing that is extremely important to me and to my friends is Obamacare, or what we might call the Affordable Care Act. It has been very detrimental in our own personal lives to our health insurance, because we have seen our rates skyrocket to the point where we can barely afford to pay them. And so I really, really would like to see Obamacare repealed, and I would like to see a better plan created. I would like for there to be the free exchange of companies coming in and out of the state that can offer insurance, so that we would have more competitions. If you have competition in any market, you're going to see prices go down. So if healthcare providers, insurance providers from other states were allowed to cross over the borders of that state into other places like North Carolina, South Carolina, if we were able to freely choose the insurance that we want across the United States, then we would see a lot more competition, and we would also see prices, I think, come down. So there's no easy answer to some of these issues, but these are some of the issues that are very important to me, among others, and including some of our ideas about foreign policy and the way that our companies are operated, and the great exodus that we see of companies leaving the United States to go elsewhere because of the unfair taxes that are placed on them here. And so these are things that I considered when I went to vote today. I don't know what issues are important to you, but probably some of the same things that that I'm saying, even if you don't agree with um, my ideas about them. I'm sure that your ideas are your own, but they are also important to your heart. And my advice to you is to pray before you vote, but be sure you vote. Do not hesitate to go out and to exercise your right, because our forefathers died for us to have the freedoms that we have, and we want to hold on to those freedoms, and we want to uphold the Constitution. We want to allow that Constitution to give us freedom and not bring us entrapment. And so I just hope that you will pray about what your decision will be when you vote, and that you will exercise that right. And if it's on election day that you do it, great. If you have early voting, that's great. But whenever you do it, make sure that you do it. Friends, it has been wonderful to sit in my car and share with you today just a few thoughts that I have. And the sun is setting over here in the corner, and it's getting dark outside, so it is bedtime before long. And I just wanted to get to you before the end of the day. I want to let you know that I love and appreciate you. I've had so many wonderful comments left for me on my videos, very encouraging words, and you just can never know how much I appreciate that. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing, whether you subscribed on day one or whether you just subscribed today. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.